Yeah, lawfare scary, right? Has
100%.
it been used against you yet?
I've been wrapped up in a couple of things. There were a few back in 2020. There was the OAN lawsuit that I got wrapped up in a little bit. I was not one of the ones personally named in it, but my network was, and people were asking questions about these voting machines and these corporations and saying, wait a minute, how come we can't see the data? How come we can't get answers? Then you go and ask questions about it, and then all of a sudden you get sued. And of course, these organizations have almost unlimited money to be able to do this because they're tied into and people think it's just one election. No, it's every single level of the election, from the state all the way down to the local precinct. And they're getting money every time there's an election being run with their software. So they've got huge amounts of coffers to be able to go to this. Plus, if they win at trial, you have to pay their legal expenses.
That's crazy.
So it's definitely a time suck. And I will say though, it's never been made public because I don't have control of it. But man, I had to do this deposition once, and it was just ridiculous. It was so ridiculous. The guy's like, oh, so you were there on January 6th? Huh? I said, yeah, I was there on January 6th. He goes, so, but then you said you thought January 6th was a false flag operation. And I said, yeah, I did say that. And he said, oh, so you just blamed it on Antifa. You said you just think it was all Antifa, huh? And I said, no, I never said that. He goes, what do you mean? I said, I never said Antifa. You said Antifa. Why'd you politicize it? I said, I didn't politicize it. You brought up Antifa. I said, I never said Antifa. He goes, okay, well then who do you think did January 6th? I'm like, the federal government. And this lawyer's head just kind of explodes. He's like, and I'm doing this no notes, and I've got my lawyer here, but I'm just going.
He was letting you talk, your lawyer?
I mean, for some of these, yeah. There were a few times where he was like, Jack, we don't need to get into a debate here. And he goes, and I started going, I said, well, he said, well, do you have any evidence of that? And I was like, yeah, we had the Speaker of House just put in the committee hearing that there were 35 plus unnamed federal assets in the crowd on January 6th. And not a single one of them were arrested, even a dozen of them that went into the House. And then their guy goes, he says, well, wait, hold on. You're just filibustering here. And, we're not here to hear your opinions and hear you spin these stories. So wait, you asked me the question about what I believe, and you asked me what my evidence was. I'm answering your question. So which is it, bro? Like, look, if you don't want me to answer questions, I'll leave right now. I'll go home. You subpoenaed me, brother.
Yeah.
I have so many better things that I could be doing with my life. But if you want to sit here and just continue to be wrecked by facts, I'll do that. I'm more than happy to.
And you ended up being right in the long run too.
Yeah. And then I never heard from that guy again. He's just sitting there. And there were he just went topic after topic after topic. And it just goes to show you that these people, they sit and they watch CNN and MSNBC, so much of what I call the professional managerial class.
Yeah.
And that's just all they believe. And they never hear anything from the other side, even when, by the way, we do get evidence of FBI assets, DOJ assets, DHS assets, Homeland Security assets that were all riddled throughout. And that's just one example. But it's like, well, that's a conspiracy. And I'm like, okay, what about this fact? What about this fact? What about this report?
Yeah.
And it just piles up. And you see that over and over and over. And I think that's kind of a meta story, or the meta narrative of the MAGA movement, the America First movement, populism in general. That's why anti-establishment media and anti-establishment political figures are on the...
I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the show a lot with the algorithm. Thank you.
Rise at this point. That's why they have all the energy at this point, because they're the ones who are saying, look, we might not have all of the truth. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm right about everything. What I will tell you is, if I have an opinion on something, I'm going to base that in facts, and I'm going to present those facts, and we can have an argument about that. But don't sit there and say that oh, you guys are just making it all up.
Yeah, that's nuts. How often are you studying the other side, researching liberals and getting their perspective?
I read liberal media and watch liberal media more than I watch conservative media. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
No, I've got MSNBC on in the background all the time. I always try to see who they have on. Because they tell you, right? They tell you what they're worried about. They tell you what their next move is going to be. They tell you where the power's at. Who they're going after right now. So, they were taking this run at Tulsi Gabbard for a while there, and then that didn't work. So now they shifted. Now they're back on Pete Hegseth, and they're going after his staff a little bit over Ukraine. And so you can just see it over and over and over. Okay, so this is your pressure point. This is your next pressure point. And it's information warfare. So you're in an information war with these people. So
All right, guys, Sean Kelly here, host of the Digital Social Hour podcast. Just filmed 33 amazing episodes at Student Action Summit. Shout out to Code Health, sponsor of these episodes, but also I took them before filming each day. Felt amazing. Just filmed 20 episodes straight and I'm not even tired, honestly. So Code Health, amazing products. I also take these at home, especially when I traveled. I used to get sick every time I flew, and I started taking that. First time, I haven't had a runny nose, knock on wood. One standout element, it's so easy. You got the travel pack here, but you could just take this, fit it in your pocket if you need to. Also, all natural, like only saline solution in there. So you don't got to worry about any crazy side effects or anything. Yeah, Code's unique. With supplements, there's a lot of who knows what's in those ingredients. Code Health, I haven't seen much like this, where it's just based off the codes that are in the saline solution. So I would say they're very unique. It's going to be the future of health and medicine. Code Health has been awesome.
Feel the drop and go code yourself.
From that perspective, I've got to look where are they directing fire, and then more importantly, where's the puck going next?
Right.
So if the puck is going somewhere next, I've got to think of how do I get there first. And there's a strategy they teach you in the military called OODA Loops. You've ever heard of that?
No.
So OODA. So OODA loops. So it was actually something that was learned by fighter pilots in the Korean War, all the way back in the 1950s. So you have American pilots going up against like Soviet trained pilots from the communists. And what they called it, what the fighter pilots called it, was the reason that they were able to defeat the North Korean and the Russian fighters so quickly was what they called our loops were tighter than their loops. I said, what do you mean they're loops? Like you spin in a circle? No. Like our decision loops, our decision cycle. So observe, orient, direct, or decide, and then act. Observe, orient, decide, act. OODA. So if you can observe what's happening, orient yourself to it, decide what your response is going to be, and then act faster than your opponent, you'll always win.
Wow. That's a really good strategy.
So you can see them making their loop, and then you want to get inside of their loop so that you've committed to your action, right? So observe and then act before they've even completed their action. And you saw Trump doing this again and again in 2024, where Kamala would be up to something, he'd respond, boom, but then he'd be on to 2 to 3 things. So he'd commit to 2 to 3 more loops, even before she had closed her first one. So she's responding to something he did on Monday. Meanwhile, here it's Friday, and he's on like the 3rd thing, and he's at a McDonald's. And she goes, wait, he's at McDonald's. How do I? She couldn't keep up.
Yeah, she couldn't.
She absolutely couldn't keep up. And, I don't know what was going on there. It was a little liquid refreshment, maybe, I don't know. But the idea is that if you can always keep your opponent on their toes and you always keep ahead of them. Now you of course have to make good decisions, right?
Yeah.
You can't, if you could screw that up too. But if you do that with good decisions, you're always going to win.
Brilliant. So who the left's going to attack before they even do it.
Yeah, you pay attention all day long.
Wow.
And it's a 24/7 job.
Who do you think they'll go after next?
It's interesting because with the AG Bondi situation, you do see some elements of the left joining in, but they're kind of split on it because some people are going after Bondi, but more are going after Trump. AOC went after Trump because this is criticism. This is pressure that isn't coming from the left. This is pressure that's coming from the right.
Right.
So it's coming from inside the house. Calls coming from inside the house, right?
Yeah.
So the left is sort of split on where to go on that. What I predict, though, is because you have to be thinking ahead. And I'm always thinking ahead. Donald Trump's never going to be on the ballot again, right?
Yeah.
2026, there's midterms, but he's never going to be a ballot as president. He's done. But who will be?
Vance.
Right? JD Vance. And JD Vance, I think, is the biggest threat to the left in the entire country right now. And I think they know that. I think he knows that. And when you watch his moves, he's not always out there in public the way that, your average social media person is. He's not on TV every single day the way Trump is. But when he comes out, you notice he comes out and he punches hard and he goes back.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting. And here's the episode.